Good morning, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. And yeah, I know this is getting out of control. Every day that I don't go and get my hair cut, I look more and more like a Jewish clown, but what can you do? Anyway, let's have a Music Month video. I can remember saying a while ago that I was really concerned about what videos I could make to replace the sort of series, if you could call it that I made last year, and the YouTube user Father Emeritus, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, suggested to me that instead of coming up with a new series, I just continue this one with new themes and topics. And since I'm an incredibly lazy content creator and not a particularly original person, that sounded fine to me. So let's start on series 2 of Music Month. I was thinking about a new theme that I haven't used before and that isn't sort of related to the previous themes that I've done, and what I could do for my first Music Month video this year, and I got really confused and stuck and I didn't know what to do. So I thought, because it's sort of, January, which is, the first month in a new year, so it's all new stuff, that I thought I would choose the theme of new music to kind of represent that newness, because it's a very, very original concept right there. But I kind of realized very quickly that I don't listen to enough brand new music to make that video, And for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure everyone watching this does, Music Month is when I choose 5 songs and 1 album that represent a certain theme or genre or mood, and just kind of talk a little bit about why I like them. So I didn't do the new music theme, and instead I decided to basically do the laziest possible one and just kind of make it random. Yeah, so 5 songs and 1 album that are just pieces of music that I like, basically. Like I said, very, very lazy content creator. I've already made 2 videos this week anyway, so like, whatever. Track number 1 is by an artist called Younger, but spelt with just an R instead of an ER at the end, because that's what all the cool kids are doing these days, and it's called September Sun. Younger is a really, really cool artist. I can remember discovering him in my student union when I was still at uni. They were playing Out of My System on the like MTV TV system or whatever it was, and I just thought it was really, really cool, so I Shazammed it and found out who it was. Listen to more of his music, I think it's great. He does really, really interesting things in terms of loops and samples. He's just got a really good knack for catchy tunes and great arrangements, and especially if you watch the videos for his songs, then you'll see how he goes about sort of building up different layers and looping things. Although I'm never quite sure when I watch those how much of that is kind of genuine live looping and how much is just a bit of sort of sneaky fiddling around with things afterwards. Either way, the music itself is great. He's got a really good voice, and yeah, so that's track number 1, Younger, September Sun. Track number 2 is by a very well-known composer and producer. He's called Junkie XL. Well, I mean, he's not actually called Junkie XL, his name is Tom, but it's called The Works, but with an X at the end of it instead of an S, because edgy. And it's from his score for the surfing documentary Distance Between Dreams. Really great score in general. I haven't actually seen the documentary yet, but I really, really want to. Junkie XL is a huge synth nerd. I mean, if you watch any of his videos on YouTube, you can just see from his studio the amount of equipment that he has, and he's really, really keen on modular stuff as well. So modular analog synthesis, which is an area of music production that I have yet to delve into, and I think my wallet is probably constantly thanking me for that. But yeah, his whole score for this film relies very heavily on synthesis and making interesting sounds, and you can kind of, you can hear that in the score. It's really, really wonderfully done. This track in particular is probably one of my favorites from it, because I love the way that it ebbs and flows, in a similar way to, the ocean, and that's the central point of the documentary in general. So it's very, very fitting for the film, but it just has such a lovely rhythm to it, and there is this kind of main melody that sort of comes in twice, and the way it gets developed, and at the ends there's this like really, really kind of punchy beat going on behind it. It's just a wonderful piece of music. Yeah, if you haven't heard any of it before, listen to that one song, or listen to the whole score if you want, because that's also fantastic. Track number 3 on this list is by an artist called Rayland Baxter. It's called Bermuda Highway, and it's actually a cover originally by the band My Morning Jacket. Bit of alternative country music to diversify this list. This is a superb cover and captures such a nice sort of aesthetic. I mean, I know I sound like such a wanky bastard whenever I use that word to describe music, but I don't know, I feel like it sort of does. I first discovered this song because someone I know had it on their Instagram stories like months ago, and I just sort of thought it sounded really cool, so I looked it up and I listened to it, and I love it. And obviously the original is really, really great as well, but I just love the naked vulnerability that you hear in this cover. I just think it's lovely. Track number 4 is by the superb singer-songwriter Gregory Alan Isakov and is called Master and Hound. I fell in love with this song from the very moment that I heard the opening line to it, which is, "Where were you when I was still kind?" And I just sort of like blew me away. It kind of resonated with me on a personal level. I just thought it was such an honest line, very similar to Keaton Henson. If you like Keaton Henson, then you'll love Gregory Alan Isakov, because the honesty and the kind of, you know, bluntness, I guess, in the lyrical content is just brilliant. It's just a simply gorgeous track, heartbreaking, fragile, and honest, and I absolutely love the way the instrumentation builds throughout it, because it starts off with a sort of, you know, classical finger-picked guitar and his voice, and then it just grows and more instruments are added. It's just lovely. You should listen to it, definitely. And in a total contrast to that, track 5 on this list is some good, wholesome pop music. It's by an artist called Sigrid, and it's called Plot Twist. Sigrid is just such a cool artist. Her style, her voice, her songwriting, it's so good. And I haven't looked in yet to whether or not there are co-writers involved in her music, but either way, the songwriting on her tracks is so good. And her music, to me, is a perfect example of kind of modern, relevant pop music that doesn't fall into any of the kind of cringy traps that a lot of other artists do, you know, blatantly imitating certain styles or following trends or anything like that. It's just done so well, and there's a real sense of integrity to her music. It's such a catchy, upbeat song, as are pretty much all of the ones that she's released. I mean, you've probably heard Strangers, because I think that's her biggest single at the moment, but it's just so cool. And finally, we've got the album for this month's video. Now, this is actually really difficult because there aren't any whole albums that I've been listening to in their entirety all that much recently, but I would say... oh, I don't know, actually. Oh, yeah, no, I do know. So those of you who follow me on Instagram will know that I was listening to this the other day. Nightwish's most recent album, Endless Forms Most Beautiful, it came out like 3 years ago. They've been my favourite band forever, basically, since I was about 13, I think. And I don't listen to much metal nowadays, but they have just always been there. But I'll go months and months without listening to them or thinking about them, and then something will just like trigger me to like search a couple of their songs, and then I'll just like dive into this rabbit hole of Finnish symphonic metal, and I absolutely love every second of it. Yeah, that's a great album. It's by no means their best album, at least I don't think it's the best Nightwish album. I'd probably give that to Once, but I still think it's really good. And if you want to enjoy some Finnish symphonic metal that'll kind of blow your socks off, then listen to Nightwish. So there we go, episode 1 of season 2 of Music Month. This is exciting stuff for me. I don't usually have any kind of continuity with things, but yeah, I really do hope that you've enjoyed this. Let me know what music you're listening to at the moment, or some new artists that you found that you enjoy. Let me know who they are down in the comment section down there. I will be listening to them. As I've said, I love discovering new music, and if you listen to any of the people that I've spoken about in this video and you really like them, let me know that as well. Or if you really hate them, let me know that. As always, you know, if you agree with things I've said or disagree, just, you know, say some things in the comments or whatever. I don't know. Sorry if this video is a bit weird and rambly and unscripted. I'm very tired at the moment. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed this. Have an absolutely fantastic day, as always, and I will see you very soon.